Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. John Kelly, profiler here, and welcome. Welcome to today's show. It's about Bryan Kohberger, the moronic, know-it-all, chronic moronic. Yeah, so Bryan Kohberger, I feel, my opinion, is a chronic moronic. I'm not saying he's guilty of many murders. He's a suspect. You understand? He's a suspect in murders. He's been arrested, but he's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Yes, indeed, he's innocent until proven guilty. I want to send all our condolences out, family and friends, of all the kids that were murdered up in Idaho. It was horrible, horrible. And I just can't imagine families going through that. I truly can't. I've seen it. I don't know how they have the strength to go through it. They do go through it, and it's a terrible situation. And God bless him is all I could say. We're going to be releasing a video this week with Tim Braun. It's going to be called Broken Babies. Some of you might know my colleague and friend Timmy Braun, Detective Sergeant Tim Braun, the Charles Cullen case. Charles Cullen, the serial killer nurse. Yep. This movie's about Timmy Braun and his partner and Charles Cullen. They made a movie about it. The Good Nurse. You guys have probably seen it. If not, I suggest you do see it. The Good Nurse. And of course, there's an actor playing Tim Braun in it. But also there's a documentary that goes along with the movie, The Good Nurse. And Timmy is in the documentary all the way through. He's been a great friend and colleague, and I've been so honored to work with him. He's one of the best homicide detectives in the country. No question about it. No question about it. That's Charles Cullen. He's doing a lot of time right now. You probably won't have time to talk to anybody. Also, again, I have to bring our disclaimer out there that Bryan Kohberger is totally innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. We're going to have a lot to say here today, and we certainly would like to hear the audience's feedback on the chronic moronic Bryan Kohberger, okay? And this is my opinion, and this is just based on my years of experience being involved with these murder cases. I just think Bryan Kohberger, if he is in fact the killer, is a moron, and I have to be honest about that. And again, not saying he is the killer; it's all allegations at this point, in my opinion, which is just my opinion. Based on him being a suspect and being arrested for the murders. When we look at it, you're looking at the knife sheet, and we're looking at the DNA, and we know the defense is trying to get it tossed, okay? And they're trying to challenge it so hard. And if they can get that DNA tossed, it's extremely important as far as evidence goes. Because if they can get the DNA tossed, they can get the sheet tossed, right? Or, it'll probably work that way. I can't see any other way around it. Here are some things I would go along with as far as the DNA goes. If the DNA does not get tossed, I think some of this circumstantial evidence could really be interesting, and I want to see what you guys think. I want to hear from you on it. Okay, so here's some things I think would go along with supporting the prosecution in their quest to convict Bryan Kohberger. First of all, you got to understand where I'm coming from. I'm a profiler here, and I'm telling you that I believe this guy is very visually oriented. He has a very visual primary intake sense. Most people do. I think it's 70% do. Then you have so many have a primary of auditory, so many have a primary, very few, but some of kinesthetic. They're more feelings oriented. Okay. So in any way, looking at his visual primary intake sense, Yeah, and how did I come to that conclusion? Well, I came to it because in his application for an internship at the Pullman Police Department, remember when he did that, he tried to get a job at the Pullman Police Department early on. He wrote an essay that he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. That is a visual person. Okay, that is not me. Okay, I can't do that. I'm not a visual person. All right, not having a primary intake sense of being visual, but he does, because to be able to handle a computer and set up these different programs and be able to focus in on that, I truly believe, my opinion only, that he's an extremely visual person. Okay. So with us thinking or believing he's a very visual person, right? Some circumstantial evidence to kind of turn around and, beef up the DNA argument and everything, that it is his DNA on that knife sheet. He talks about driving around in the dark and listening to music. Now, this is his alibi on where he was for so many hours before and after the murders. Okay, driving around in the dark, listening to music. That's his alibi. Well, first of all, what I got to tell you is visual people usually do not like to drive around in the dark. And if you ask yourself why, it's because they cannot see anything. Visual people really more or less like lighted areas, and they like to sightsee, they like to see things. They're really not into somebody with a primary intake sense of being visual. They're really not into driving around really dark country or area roads and listening to music. I mean, that's his alibi. But also, you know, he talked about he can't help it, but during this quest, he has nobody to back up his alibi. I guess he didn't call anybody, and he doesn't have a phone call into anyone while he was driving around. And the reason for that is because he has his phone shut off. So if he's driving around listening to music, I guess it's just coming from the radio. He doesn't have his phone on, so he's not getting it through the phone. I don't know. I'd like to know what you guys think about this, you know? And nobody saw him. Well, of course, it's 4 o'clock or so earlier in the morning, and he's driving around these dark country roads. Who the hell's up? Who's he going to see? Nobody saw him, so he doesn't have a witness that can place him driving around in the dark on the country roads, listening to music. Although without a cell phone, I guess just from the radio, I didn't even know how much reception that area, that time of the morning, right? Because the phone's turned off. I mean, ironically, his phone, from the allegations that are out there, his phone has never been turned off pretty much, except during these murders. It was completely turned off for a 2-hour period. Now, those again are allegations. That's a scuttlebutt that's out there. That's the rumor. I'm going to wait for the authorities. Let law enforcement bring it to the trial. Let's check it out then, so we know exactly what's going on. I mean, do any of you guys do? I got to ask you this: do any of you like to drive around, in the pitch black darkness, for hours, at like 4 or 5 in the morning, listening to the radio? I mean, I know it's done by some people, but I mean, seriously, come on, right? And having your phone turned off, why would you turn your phone off? But I don't know. I'll wait for you guys to tell me. And, of course, they found evidence, in his neighbor's garbage, right? Now, I got to ask you guys again, this is all just opinion and circumstantial stuff I have focusing on what's to support the DNA evidence if it does not, and on the sheet, and if it does not get kicked out in some way by the defense. But evidence being found in his neighbor's garbage, I mean, so he was putting his garbage, wrapping it up at the house and putting it in his neighbor's garbage. So how many of you guys put your garbage in the neighbor's garbage can? I'm just wondering what you think about that. I mean, one of you guys take your garbage, take your garbage out and put it in the neighbor's garbage can? Yeah, some neighbor, huh? Love thy neighbor, right? Okay. So anyway, then we look at this situation, that all of a sudden the next morning, Bryan, who's been driving around for hours and hours, through the early morning, and now it's a little later, I guess, in the morning. Isn't it ironic that he shows up supposedly at the house, the crime scene? Isn't that ironic? I mean, there he is driving all night out in through the dark or early morning through the dark and showing up in the light and showing up, consequently at the crime scene. I mean, again, he's innocent until proven guilty, but I mean, whoa, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence here if they don't get that DNA kicked. Just my opinion, just my opinion. If in fact this is true, we hear all these allegations and things, we have to find out for sure. And then also the other thing that's very interesting to me is when he gets arrested. If you guys want to remember this, or if you want to look on the internet, what it says he said to the cops that arrested him or the detectives that arrested him, when he gets arrested, he says to them, "Who else did you arrest?" Now, I must ask you, is this something any of you would do if you got arrested for murdering 4 people, 4 young people, 4 young kids, right? Is that what you would say to the arresting officers? Who else did you arrest? Wouldn't you say, "Are you out of your mind? Are you insane? I'm not. What are you arresting me for? I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't kill anybody. What's the matter with you? I'm innocent. I'm totally innocent here. I want a lawyer. I don't want to hear any of this. This is all insane." Or carry on something similar to that effect. You're being arrested for murdering 4 kids, 4 college kids. And the first thing you're going to say is, "Who else did you arrest?" That's implying you could possibly have an accomplice or something. I don't understand this. I think we'll understand it better as we get into trial. But the bottom line here, pretty much more will be revealed. Let us know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Truly appreciate you. Have a great day. Take care of yourself out there. We live in a dangerous world. And until we meet again, God bless.